Mr. Gilbreath, I believe you represent the petitioner.
Right. And so there's a special appearance, but it's their special appearance, but my burden since I'm invoking the jurisdiction of the court, as I believe the way it's postured. Um, so yes, if you see from the file, there was an application for a protective order filed by the applicant on May 13th. On May 14th, there was an ex parte protective order issued by Judge DeSettle. We don't have uh, we don't have a hearing yet on the final protective order because we have a jurisdictional issue to address before that time. The basis you can read in the application with the affidavit, there's essentially sort of two instances or two prongs to the application for protective order, which is a stalking protective order. Generally speaking, without belaboring the facts in the affidavit, the parties were in a dating relationship. Um, they were living in California at the time of their relationship, and then they had spent some time in Utah. And then they split up, broke up around February, March of this year. After that time, my client, I believe the evidence would be that the respondent returned to California or was in California, which is where I believe that Mr. Andre resides now. And that's what the application for protective order says and what have you. My client spent some time in Pennsylvania with her mother, and she relocated to Austin, Texas. Um, the two bases for the application for protective order, which also lead to the personal jurisdiction issue, because it's a stalking protective order, is we do have text messages and whatnot going back and forth between the parties, but there is evidence, I think undisputed evidence, that the respondent, Mr. Andre, was shipping luggage of my clients that he intended to arrive and her to receive. He shipped luggage to her by providing it to her mother, right? He shipped the luggage from California to her mother in Pennsylvania. I believe the evidence would be that he knew around that time that my client was in Texas, but did not know the exact location. But he knew where my client's mother was because she was receiving the luggage. And what he did was he placed AirTags in the luggage. They are disclosed, or they are undisclosed AirTags. They are hidden in the luggage. I believe the evidence would be that he tampered with the AirTags so that they'd be registered to a different phone number that my client was familiar with. Also, so that they wouldn't play a sound when she got a notice on her own iPhone that there could potentially be an AirTag. But essentially, he sent the luggage to my client's mother in Pennsylvania, knowing that that luggage would then be sent to my client with an AirTag in it, so he would be able to locate her in where she is at in Texas. I think the evidence would be, will be, and would be at the application for protective order hearing that during this time he calls my client's mother multiple times, asking where my client is, trying to find out where she is, kind of grilling her about location and trying to locate my client. Well, after they've broken up, and my client is trying to separate herself from her ex-boyfriend. So that's issue number one, right? The air tags. And then issue number two, and I guess I'll say, obviously, I think Mr. Andre has a different version. He does say that he says in his own application or his own response that he did place the air tags in the luggage. I don't think that's in dispute that he placed the air tags in the luggage. I think he says, well, I let her mom know, and he attached some text messages which don't disclose to the mother that the air tags are in there. Um, I don't think there's any evidence that he told my client there'd be AirTags in luggage that is going to her. Um, and I don't think he's even alleging that. But that's I think his response in the AirTags. And then there's a very disputed fact that's kind of the second issue in the protective orders. After the AirTags have been sent, my clients discovered them. Um, the we believe that we have evidence, and this is why we have the witness, that Mr. Andre appeared in my client's the location of her home in Austin, Texas, specifically on I believe it's April 15th. Tony, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on Tony's last name right now. The witness that you're going to hear, who's my client's landlord, let my client know, and she's here to testify that she saw the respondent in Austin, Texas, at the residence, a place that he would, of course, have no idea where my client was, but for the AirTags. And so that's the sort of second major issue in the stalking protective order. So first, there's the AirTags, which would be stalking in and of themselves, and then there's the appearance at the Austin home. And again, I think Mr. Andre disputes being in Austin, Texas. He has sort of unauthenticated documents from his employer where he says I was not in Texas during that time. That's a disputed fact, right, for the trier of fact. So what's before you today, right? Because obviously they'll have a dispute about whether or not stalking has occurred when they have a hearing. But what's before you today is that Mr. Andre filed both a special appearance, and he did it correctly, right? He hasn't waived his appearance or what have you. He filed a special appearance first, and a plea to the jurisdiction on it. And we've briefed the issue. We filed our brief, and I believe he kind of briefs it in his special appearance. We briefed it as well. Our brief was filed yesterday. But he attacks both plea of the jurisdiction and personal jurisdiction. So speaking to the plea of the jurisdiction first, I'm not sure if that's one they seriously intend on proceeding on. The court clearly has subject matter jurisdiction, both under the family code and the criminal code. All right, my client is a victim of stalking. That's the allegation that invokes the jurisdiction of the district court in Travis County, Texas. Venue is proper because the applicant lives here. So the court clearly has subject matter jurisdiction. The issue of personal jurisdiction, I think, is where the hearing is largely concerning. And again, both sides have briefed this. It is correct that in order under the Texas Supreme Court recent case law, actually, the court does have to have personal jurisdiction over the respondent in order to issue a protective order. Historically, there's been arguments that you can do it without personal jurisdiction over the respondent. The Supreme Court has said you do have to have personal jurisdiction over the respondent, and that's the issue that we've briefed, and that's the issue that we would be presenting evidence on. Specifically, when you read the brief, there's two specific cases for the court to look at. Let me find my place. Here we go. One is, and again, it's listed in our brief, but Keller v. Keller, which is 2023 Tex App Lexus 1146. That's how the Third Court of Appeals, again, it's in our brief. But that essentially talks about how an individual through stalking who has never had any physical presence in the state of Texas, but has sent emails and text messages and postcards and related contacts directed towards a Texas residence, was therefore availing himself to the jurisdiction of the courts. The acts were directed towards Texas. A similar case is also listed in our brief. That's Schubiner. Again, it's in our brief, but Schubiner. Kind of same deal, directing contacts. The respondent says, I have never been in Texas, right? I don't do business there. I've never stepped foot in the state of Texas, but the acts were directed towards the applicant in Texas. And so in both instances, the Court of Appeals stated that there was personal jurisdiction, and that's what our brief addresses. So that just sort of brings us back to kind of where we're at. I believe that the facts are true as we allege. First of all, if it's true that the respondent was in Texas in April at my client's residence, I don't think there's any dispute that the Texas court would have personal jurisdiction over the respondent. I think their position is going to be, well, that's a disputed fact, and he was not there, and we have a witness that says he was there, right? But if that fact is true, then I don't think there's any dispute that Texas would have personal jurisdiction. But putting aside the issue about whether or not respondent ever even stepped foot in the state of Texas, under the case law, we believe that the stalking through the AirTags, because they were purposely put in circulation to my client in Pennsylvania, intending to go to my client's mother in Pennsylvania, intending to be received by my client in the state of Texas, so he can locate where she is. And he knew she was in Texas. He didn't know specifically where she was in Texas, but he knew she was in Texas. That act alone, putting aside the fact that we believe he was in Texas, that act alone of the AirTags, we believe puts under the case law, gives you personal jurisdiction to proceed with the protective order, which I think it goes without saying, just as a practical matter, would be tried over Zoom. We're not asking for an in-person hearing. It would have to be tried just like this one. But that's the issue before the court. And so I'll wrap up by just sort of speaking to Mr. Fraser's comment, which I think is correct in docket call, which is it's kind of all tied together with merits, right? It's the, if he did this with the AirTag, that's the same allegation that leads to the merits of a protective order application, just like whether or not he was in Texas. I do think they have a right, obviously, to address a special appearance, but how the court actually wants to proceed forward with that, I think both Mr. Fraser and I would be open to direction on that. We do have our witnesses, right? It is the same lawsuit that will be tried if the court finds personal jurisdiction. We have witnesses and our exhibits just like they do. And so I think that kind of explains your 3-hour time announcement. But again, just for clarity, for today, it's just special appearance and plea of the jurisdiction. And depending on what the court does, me and Mr. Fraser have discussed, hearing dates for the protective order, if indeed the court exercises jurisdiction in this matter.
All right, Mr. Fraser.
Yes, Your Honor, that we start with a somewhat vague pleading. The recent changes to the application for protective order, Ms. Jen complied with using this somewhat generic form, but it doesn't give the respondent or the court, for that matter, a lot of indication about exactly what grounds Ms. Jen, the applicant, is seeking. Today, our burden under the special appearance is to show, we believe the evidence is going to show that Mr. Andre resides in California. That's acknowledged by the applicant's motion for substituted service that the court can take judicial notice of the file on, her application and supporting affidavit as well. The real issue for today's hearing, of course, is this idea of availment to the state of Texas. And so, as the court knows, there is personal jurisdiction when the long-arm statute authorizes such, and doing so comports with federal and state constitutional due process guarantees. So when we talk about the minimum contacts evaluation that this court is going to go under, I'm going to start with referencing a case, Goodenboer. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but for the spelling, it's Goodenbour, v. Goodenboer. It's 64 Southwest 3rd, 69. It's an Austin Court of Appeals opinion from 2001. And I have these cases when and if the court wants us to upload them to Box or email them to staff attorney, whatever the court desires. But that at page 78 of that, this opinion talks about the minimum contacts analysis has been refined into 2 types of jurisdiction, one being general and then 2 being specific. So under general, we evaluate whether the respondent's contacts with the form state are continuous and systematic. And I think you'll see from Mr. Gilbreath.
I'm having trouble with just knowing which word you're saying. Contacts, context. I don't know. Can you tell me what that word is?
Yeah, like
I'm not familiar with the law.
Contact lenses, C-O-N, no problem. And so under the general jurisdiction analysis, whether these contacts are continuous and systematic, even if the cause of action does not arise from or relate to the activities conducted within Texas. I don't believe that's what Ms. Jen is asserting here, because the evidence doesn't show that Mr. Andre has such continuous and systematic contacts with Texas. Instead, we look at the specific jurisdiction, and what we're talking about there is the cause of action, and I'm citing Gudenbauer again, that same case at 78 and 79, where it states, to establish specific jurisdiction, the cause of action, in this case, stalking, must arise out of or relate to the non-resident defendant's contact with the forum state, and the conduct must have resulted from the defendant's purposeful conduct, not the unilateral conduct of the plaintiff or others. And so it'll be important for the court to look at the stalking penal code provision. That's, let's see, chapter 42, and specifically section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which also,
42, I'm sorry, 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code.
that's correct, Your Honor. And even within that statute, it incorporates by reference section 42.07, where you get into harassment. So as it relates to the cause of action under Chapter 7B of the Code of Criminal Procedure, which this application is grounded in, we'll have to look at those elements. But so first we have to say, did Mr. Andre purposely avail himself of the privilege of conducting activities in Texas, thus invoking the benefits and protections of the Texas laws? So as Mr. Gilbreath pointed out in an opening statement, we're really talking about two very limited points of contact under this specific jurisdiction analysis. And so I'd cite Goldstein, Goldstein, v. Sabatino, Sabatino. This is a Texas Supreme Court case regarding protective order, stalking protective order that was issued in 2024. The site is 690 Southwest 3rd, 287. And in it, it addresses this purposeful availment, three factors we looked at. And one thing that the Supreme Court points out is that only the defendant's contacts with the forum are relevant. The unilateral activity of a third party is not. And so when we talk about these bags, that we'll get into the history of the relationship, but I think it is established or will be established that Ms. Jen asked my client from San Francisco, California, to ship 3 bags. I think it's 2 suitcases and 1 bag, 3 items of luggage, if you will, to Pennsylvania, which he did. And he will testify, and he's asserted that, yes, he put AirTags in those items. Now, the evidence is going to show it was not my client, but Ms. Jen, and with the help of her mother, who shipped those bags to the state of Texas from the state of Pennsylvania. So again, when we talk about specific contacts and the cause of action in this case, A, we don't believe that him putting those AirTags in the bags was stalking under the penal code definition of it. But he also, the evidence will show, he told Ms. Jen's mother that, hey, there's AirTags in there, want to make sure they got there. But so when we talk about specific contacts, he shipped the bags to Pennsylvania, not Texas. So when we're looking per the Supreme Court at my client's contacts with the forum state, that's very critical. Secondly, yes, there is a dispute about whether my client was in the state of Texas on or about April 12th and April 13th of 2026. We believe the evidence is going to show from my client's own testimony he was not present on those dates. We have a witness, a Mr. Ritter, who will testify he was with Mr. Andre in the state of California on those dates. And we do have some documentation, credit card statements, et cetera, showing activity in the state of California. I do dispute, however, Mr. Gilbreath's contention that if a fact finder was to find he was even present in the state of Texas on those dates, which again, we deny, I would cite back to Gudenbauer at 79. It states, but a single act or occasional acts may be insufficient to establish jurisdiction if their nature and quality and the circumstances of their commission create only an attenuated connection with the forum. Going back to Goldstein, a second prong for availment is the defendant or the respondent's connections must be purposeful, not random, fortuitous, or attenuated. The evidence is going to show that my client has been to the state of Texas twice in his life. He went to Houston, Texas twice, once for a layover and connection where he spent the night of May 16th of 2024 in Houston, Texas because of a delayed flight at an airport hotel. Then on May 23rd of 2024, there was a layover on the way back to San Francisco, and he never left the hotel of Houston, Texas. And then the third—
He never left the hotel or the airport.
I think it's a hotel. He could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's the airport. I think he was at a hotel right near the airport, is my understanding. And the third prong from Goldstein is, did my client seek the benefit, advantage, or profit by availing himself to the jurisdiction? And I don't believe there's any indication of that. The court is likely familiar with, at least I was, so I suspect the court was, of the Supreme Court case on special appearances from 1998, that being Dawson-Austin v. Austin, and that's 968 Southwest 2nd, 319. In the court's evaluation of the facts and the law, I would ask the court to review how similar Ms. Dawson-Austin's connections with the state of Texas were, and that Supreme Court found there was no personal jurisdiction. She was a California resident. She was served in California. She testified that her only contact with the state had been minimal. She had never lived in Texas. The petitioner in that matter had only been in Texas for a short period of time, and I'll get to that in a second. We do believe that the court should find that finding that my client is subject to the jurisdiction of this state would offend traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. In the Gudenbauer opinion at page 80, the court does a good job of setting out some factors, what those would be. The first being the burden on the appellee. And in this situation, I think that means my client, the respondent. He's had to retain Texas counsel. He's participating in hearings remotely. 2, Texas's interest in adjudicating the dispute. And in a second, when I talk about the plea to the jurisdiction, I think the applicant's, Ms. Jin's residency in the state of Texas is dubious and somewhat limited. I don't think the evidence is going to show that Ms. Jin has spent a significant portion of her life here. I think if we go through her affidavit, we can see we're literally talking about a handful of days there in that regard. The appellant's interest in obtaining convenient and effective relief. Again, I cited the vague pleading, the idea that there are other jurisdictions that could be handling this case, and that goes to prong or factor 4. The interstate judicial system's interest in obtaining the most efficient resolution of controversies. My client resides in California. We probably wouldn't be having any kind of special exception, or the state of California wouldn't be having an argument about his contacts there. The evidence being in Pennsylvania, evidence being in California versus the limited evidence, if any, in the state of Texas. And then finally, the shared interest of the several states in furthering fundamental substantive social policies. And it really just gets into a jurisdictional issue. As it relates to the plea to the jurisdiction, and clearly my opening statement has been way more on personal jurisdiction, and I agree with Mr. Gilbreath's assessment that that's the primary consideration for this hearing, but we do have a plea to the jurisdiction, and I would cite for the court, I don't have a hard copy of this, but under Pidgeon v. Turner, Pidgeon v. Turner, Turner. That's 625 Southwest 3rd, 583, a Houston Court of Appeals 14th District from 2021. The only reason I bring that up is it's just jurisdiction, as it relates to the plea of the jurisdiction, is determined at the time the suit is filed in the trial court. And so under the Code of Criminal Procedure, seeking this protective order, the application can be filed in a district court, which is where we are, but it also cites in the county in which the applicant resides. And so, again, I'm not sure she's going to meet that. I think that is an evidentiary issue or a fact issue that would matter to make this matter of law for the court. Her pleading, again, in her affidavit only talks about a handful of days in the state of Texas. I mean, it's close to 40 by my calculation. But even in her affidavit, she says on April 19th, I fled Texas for a different state. And the application was filed on May 13th of 26. So if she didn't reside in the state of Texas on May 13th, I think that is a jurisdictional issue for the court to deal with. I'll provide for the court a case, and I'm wrapping up, and I appreciate the court's indulgence. It's Beavers, Bevers v. Mabry, Mabry. It's an unpublished opinion, but the Westlaw site is 2024 WL 469550. And this gets back to the specific contacts element about whether these contacts are associated with the cause of action in this matter. And so what this case was talking about, and it denied a protective order, was the stalking statute prohibits two types of conduct. One, conduct that constitutes an offense under the harassment statute, and that's 42.07 of the penal code. And two, conduct that the actor knows or reasonably should know the other person will regard as threatening bodily injury, death, or a property offense. And the opinion goes on to state, in addition to the prohibited conduct, the stalking statute incorporates an intent element, a subjective harm element, and an objective harm element. And so the court's going to need to look at all of these and as it relates to whether or not even my client visited the state for 2 days in April of this year. The opinion states the alleged perpetrator's conduct must either meet the statutory elements of harassment, or it must threaten bodily injury, death, or an offense against property, which they're not going to meet that burden. So under the specific jurisdiction analysis, him going to the house, which again, we think the evidence is going to show he didn't do, that's not stalking. Him putting AirTags in California that were shipped to Pennsylvania doesn't meet the stalking provisions as it relates to this analysis. And so we do think my client will prevail on the protective order application, but we're asking the court to deny jurisdiction under his special appearance, and we're asking the court to deny jurisdiction under the plea of the jurisdiction.
Thank you. All right. There you are, Mr. Gilbreath. You may call your first witness.
And I believe Ms. Phillips will be doing that.
Yes, Your Honor. We'll call Ms. Toni Moss.
Y'all, I can't. The host has blocked my video.
And Your Honor, should we invoke the rule for any other witnesses at this point? I'd ask to do so.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. What other witnesses are you seeing?
For me, Your Honor, I should have a Mr. Julius Ritter, Ritter.
All right, I see him.
And for us, Your Honor, Ms. Sue is a witness, and we also have another witness coming, but she's not on the Zoom at this time.
All right, Mr. Ritter and Ms. Sue, would you please raise your right hand where I can see it? And turn off your mute button.
And Your Honor, Miss Moss is the witness I've just called as well.
Ah.
I already turned off the mute button.
All right, thank you. So Ms. Sue, Mr. Ritter, and Ms. Moss, do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 All right. So, Ms. Sue and Mr. Ritter, the rule of exclusion of witnesses has been invoked, and that means that all witnesses except the parties are instructed to remain outside the virtual courtroom, to not discuss the case with anybody except the attorneys, and to not read or listen to any report of the testimony in the case until you're released as witnesses. So my staff is going to send each of you, Ms. Sue and Mr. Ritter, an invitation to join a breakout room. Please accept that invitation and go into the breakout room. And then when it's time for you to testify, we're going to send you something asking you to leave the breakout room and come back to the main room. All right?
Okay.
Thank you. And so lawyers, y'all need to inform your witnesses of this. And you were saying, somebody was saying there's another witness y'all expect to log on. Who is that?
Yes, Your Honor. Her name is Stephanie, and I can tell her to log on right now so that she can go into the breakout room as well.
She doesn't need to. She just needs to know that when she comes into the Zoom, she's just not going to be admitted into the main room until it's her turn to testify.
Thank you. She's aware.
All right. What's her last name?
Miss Macchioni, do you have her last name off the top of your head? I can pull it.
Yes, it's Hopkins, Hopkins.
All right. We'll make sure we don't admit her to this Zoom. All right. So are they gone?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, great. Then Ms. Phillips, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Miss Moss. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Tony Greer Moss.
And very generally, why are you here on this Zoom this morning?
To testify as to what happened at my home on April 12th.
And how do you know Miss Jen?
She contacted me on Airbnb on March 7th. I have a guest house, and because my home is on the market, I contacted her back and let her know that my house was for sale and that were she to rent from me, that she would need to allow access. And then she moved into my guest house on March 10th.
And what county is that property located?
Travis.
And for the month about from March 10th through April, how did that go with Miss Jen living in that guest house?
Great. We interacted minimally, when she would come and go, and I work out of my home. So I would see her occasionally, but she was a great tenant.
And if you recall, in early April, when did Miss Jen go out of town or leave the property?
Around April 3rd.
And what happened while she was gone?
On April 12th, I had an open house, and the open house was at 2:00 in the afternoon. 15 minutes prior to that open house, I have a circular driveway, and a chocolate brown Tesla pulled in with a guy in it. And I spoke to him through the passenger window, which was down. So I was standing right next to the car, and he had a unique French accent, which stuck out to me because I lived in Europe for 14 years and I couldn't quite figure out the accent. And he said that he was here for the open house. And I told him that it didn't start for 15 minutes and that he was early. He asked me if I was the homeowner, which I confirmed I was. And right as we were talking, my realtor and his assistant walked up. And when they walked up, this guy was very nervous, and he turned around and took off, driving across my grass. He said, "I'm going to go see another house 7 minutes away." And I thought that was really unusual, because usually you'd say 5 or 10 minutes, but it was 7 minutes. His demeanor was very hurried and nervous, and he said he would come back. And he did not come back.
And did you think much of this incident at the time?
Well, I thought a little bit about it. I mean, I felt a little vulnerable because it was a strange interaction, and this is someone coming into my home. But otherwise, no, I didn't think that much of it.
And when he was at your property, did you get a good look at this man's face?
Yes, I was standing about 4 feet away from him. He was in the driver's seat. He had the passenger window down, and I was standing right next to the car.
Do you see the man that was at your house on April 12th on this Zoom here today?
I do.
Can you identify what his name is labeled as?
Louis Andre.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moss. I'll pass the witness.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may, Mr. Fraser.
Thank you. Ms. Moss, do you recall writing a declaration that you signed on or about May 12th of 2026?
Of course I do.
Great, great. And do you recall when testifying in that declaration about your interactions with this male visitor to the residence, that you indicated that this person you interacted with spoke with a European, I assumed French accent?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you testified a moment ago that you lived in Europe, but at least in this declaration, you weren't entirely sure of where his regional accent from. Am I correct about that?
I thought it was a French accent with a German tinge to it.
Got it. But again, in your statement, you just said it was a European, I assumed French accent, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so this interaction you had with the male visitor, approximately how long was that interaction in minutes?
No more than 5 minutes.
Okay. And I believe you went on to say in your declaration that Ms. Jin returned to Austin about a day later. Is that correct?
She came back, yes, on April 13th.
Okay, got it.
And
And
then when she came back, I was on vacation, by the way.
where were you?
California.
Okay. And you've put in your declaration that somehow you obtained a photograph of my client. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Jin gave you a digital copy of that photograph?
Yes, on April 14th, I got a text from her about the AirTags in her luggage, which concerned me. So I called her on April 15th, which was the first chance I had to talk to her. And I said I had an unusual interaction during my open house.
And Ms. Moss, I'm going to object just a little bit to non-responsive. Just if you can focus on the questions that I asked. I think my question was, did Ms. Jin text you or email you a photo of my client? Is that right?
Yes, sorry.
That's
Yes,
okay.
she
No,
did.
you're doing great. And so you alleged to have an interaction with my client on April 12th, correct?
Correct.
And then I believe your testimony is that you received a photo of my client about 3 days later on April 15th. Is that right?
Yes.
So you'd agree with me there was a decent, at least 60, 72 hour time lapse between when you had the limited interaction with my client and then, or with the person that visited your property and received the photo of my client. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. For this male visitor to your property, this person never got out of his vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you have no other personal knowledge of that person being on your property other than for the limited time frame that you testified to earlier, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
And Miss Moss, I just have one more question for you or two. Is the man pictured in the photo Miss Jen sent you the same as the man you pointed out this morning on the Zoom?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Nothing
All
further,
right.
Your Honor.
Hmm?
Nothing further.
All right. Then, Miss Moss, thank you for your time. You're excused.
Thank you.
All right, petitioner may call her next witness.
We are going to call Leon Jen.
All right, Miss Jen, I did just swear you in, so you are still under oath. You may proceed.
Your
Will you
Honor,
please- Oh, sorry.
I don't believe Miss Jen was sworn in. I think it was our 3 witnesses that were.
All right. I thought she was, but will you raise your right hand and put it where I can see it? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
Thank you.
Okay, will you please state your name for the record?
Leon Jen. I go by Lee.
And in what county and what state do you reside?
I reside in Austin, Texas, Travis County.
And you heard Ms. Moss say you moved in on March 10th, 2026. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I moved into her property on March 10th. Prior to that, I was already residing in Austin, but in short-term rentals.
Okay, so about when did you move to Austin?
February 24th of this year.
Okay, in your affidavit, as you heard Mr. Fraser reference, you say that you fled Texas briefly for your safety after discovering the alleged stalking. When you did this, did you change your city, county, state of residence?
No, I've been a Texas resident ever since I arrived in February. My driver's license is Texas. My voter registration is Texas. I have a long-term lease in Texas. It is my only residence.
Okay, thank you. When was the last time you saw Mr. Andre in person?
I last saw him in person on January 25th of this year in Salt Lake City, where we had rented a ski house together.
Okay, and where did you go after that?
After that point, I spent a little bit of time in Salt Lake, and then I went and visited my mother in Pittsburgh, I think February 5th. And then I stayed in Pittsburgh until February 20th, which is when my mother and I traveled to Nashville. And then 4 days later, we arrived in Texas, where I began to look for apartments for myself.
Okay. During this time frame, did Mr. Andre know your location?
He and I shared our locations with each other on Find My during the course of our relationship. He knew my location on Find My until February 25th, which is when I turned it off. I turned it off from Austin at the first Airbnb that I rented. And on February 23rd, so 2 days prior to my turning it off, I had sent him a breakup message over text message that said that we did not share similar values, that I had no interest in seeing him in person or having a voice conversation with him. And furthermore, I asked him to let me know when he would not be home so that I could stop by our previous shared apartment in San Francisco and retrieve my belongings when he wasn't home.
Okay, so back up just to be clear. So Mr. Andre had seen through shared location that you were in Austin, Texas. Is that right?
That is correct. That was my last shared location with him on February 25th before I turned it off.
Okay. But you would have never been to the residence that you rented from Miss Moss yet, correct?
That's right, because I started renting it on March 10th.
Okay. So you are alleging that Mr. Andre was stalking you partially with AirTags. On what day did you discover the AirTags?
I first got notice that there were AirTags following me on April 13th during a long travel day when I was flying from a short trip visiting my mom in Pennsylvania back to where I lived in Austin. So on April 13th, I had a flight from Pittsburgh to Houston. I connected in Houston and then I flew to Austin. And throughout that day, I got alerts that unknown AirTags were following my movements.
Okay, where were you when you first got the alert?
I believe that I got the first alert in the Houston airport when I was walking around looking for my connecting flight, just walking around the airport.
Your Honor, do I have permission to share my screen?
You do.
I am presenting what's marked as Exhibit P18. Ms. Jin, do you see the exhibit on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, there's a few pictures, so I'm going to scroll so you can take a look at all of them real quick. Then we'll go through them more slowly, but for now, take a look at each one. Okay, Miss Jin, are these all pictures that you took via screenshot?
Yes.
Okay. On what date did you take all of these pictures?
On April 13th.
Okay. And since taking the screenshots, have these been altered in any way?
No.
Are all of these a true and accurate depiction of the screenshot that you took on your phone?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit P18.
Your Honor, I'll object to hearsay. There's a lot of words that are scattered all over this document, including even one of the screenshots has a text communication from someone on a notification, a little snippet of it.
Your Honor, I do believe there was one where she was getting a text as the screenshot, or as she was taking the screenshot. If that's going to be a problem, I mean, that's of no significance. If we need to redact this text message and re-upload that exhibit, I've got no problem with doing that.
And I mean, my objection is to the entirety of the records too. These are statements made by an out of the court declarant. These aren't her statements, which again would be hearsay. They're not statements by me. We don't have business records. So I'll renew and maintain my objection.
All right, the objection is overruled except for the objection to the texts that show up on the screen, and I'll just ask that those be redacted, and then you can upload a version that you call redacted, and Ms. Williams and the court reporter can pull down the original one. And we'll make the redacted one P18. And with that, P18 is admitted.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So Ms. Lee, okay, so where all did these AirTags follow you from where you can tell?
When you go into the map, and when I went into the map, I could see that they originated at my mother's house that morning, a few moments before I left for the airport on the morning of April 13th. And they followed me to the Houston airport. You can see the flight path. Then they followed me to Austin, where I landed. And then after I landed, I met my real estate agent straight from the airport with my luggage in my car. And so these AirTags followed me to various house showings that I was attending with her. And then they followed me to the grocery store because I stopped at the grocery store that I normally go to. And then finally, they arrived back home with me to Tony's house, 5404 Shoal Creek Boulevard in Austin.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, then from what you could tell, on what days were the AirTags following you?
I had no idea at that point in time how long the AirTags had been live. I first got notifications that they were tracking my movements on April 13th, which is my travel day from Pittsburgh to Austin. And when I finally arrived home that night, I went through my luggage in detail and unpacked everything and found both AirTags.
Okay, so then let me ask more specifically about that. In how many different pieces of luggage did you find AirTags?
Two separate pieces of luggage. One was in my checked bag, and then the other was in my carry-on tote / duffel bag.
Okay, then let me ask first about the checked luggage. Was this ever in Mr. Andre's possession?
Yes, it was. It was one of the items that he shipped to my mother's house in early March. This was after I had requested that I could stop at our apartment and retrieve my belongings, which he ignored and proceeded to then ship my belongings in my own suitcases back to my mother's house.
Okay.
So when I visited my mother in April, I partially unpacked and then repacked this luggage and brought it with me.
Okay. And so then prior to April 13th, had you been notified that from Find My that the AirTag was following you?
No, I hadn't.
Okay.
I believe that AirTags are only designed to notify you if you're moving with them.
So then let me ask, the other carry-on where you found the second AirTag, was this ever in Mr. Andre's possession?
Never, never. It was a duffel bag that was only a few months old, and I had purchased it from an online store that shipped it directly to my mother's house in Pittsburgh, where it sat in my closet, brand new, wrapped in plastic, until I began using it on my trip to Nashville and then Austin in February. After that point, the carry-on was with me in Austin until I started traveling with it in April, and I took it with me on multiple long flights, long road trips with friends, and at no point in time did it ever alert me to any AirTags, nor the people who were on those road trips with me. And the only instance when it started alerting me was on April 13th when I left my mother's home after a 5-day stay and brought that same carry-on with me.
Okay, and so then where in the larger luggage did you end up finding the AirTag and how?
The AirTag in the larger luggage was extremely difficult to locate because it wouldn't play a sound despite pressing play sound over and over again in my Find My app. And so I had to sift through and unpack every article of clothing in order to finally find this AirTag, which wouldn't play a sound. And when I finally found it, buried in my clothing, I saw that there was a small crack on the back seam of the AirTag. And at this point in time, I actually typed into
Jared,
call.
I'll object to non-responsive. I think the question was, where in the luggage did you find the AirTag?
All right. That's sustained. I believe you'd already answered the question, so wait till the next question.
Okay.
Okay, then Miss Jin, what about in the smaller carry-on? Where did you find that AirTag?
It was in a very concealed location of the tote bag. This is a duffel bag that has a luggage strap that slips over the handle of your suitcase to keep it in place. And the AirTag was located in a zipper compartment that was in the inside of the luggage strap that is designed to slip over the handle of your suitcase. And this is a zipper pocket that I've never accessed before and never knew existed on the bag.
Okay, understood. Do these AirTags belong to Mr. Andre?
Yes, they were all linked to the same phone number, and he admitted ownership of these AirTags in his affidavit.
And did Mr. Andre ever inform you about these AirTags?
No, the only indication that I had ever gotten from him regarding anything related to shipments was that he said that he shipped my belongings back to my mother's house and that he missed me and that he would do better to protect my heart. No mention of AirTags.
Okay, and so how did you find out that the AirTags belonged to Mr. Andre?
When you have an AirTag physically with you, you can scan it with your phone and a web page will appear. An Apple website will appear showing the serial number of the AirTag along with the last 4 digits of the owner's phone number. So I scanned both AirTags and I saw that they were both linked to the same last 4 digits, which I didn't recognize initially. And when I typed those last 4 digits into my address book, which has over 3,000 contacts in it, there was only one contact that matched. It was him.
And I'm going to share my screen one more time. Okay, Miss Jen, do you see what is marked as P19?
Yes,
Okay, I'm going to scroll so you can see both images. Did you take both of these screenshots?
I did.
Okay, and around on what day did you take both of these screenshots?
I took these the night of April 13th when I located the AirTags.
Okay, and since you took the screenshots, have you altered these in any way?
I have not.
Okay, are these screenshots accurate depictions of the pictures that you took on that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit P19 into evidence.
No objection.
P19 is admitted. While we're at a pause, there's Stephanie Hopkins in the waiting room, and I assume she's a witness, and we're gonna keep her there. There's somebody who comes and goes named Thurette or something like that. Do we know who that is?
That
Is
may
it,
be Sarah Thuray. She's a law clerk at Walters Gilbreath this summer.
So we should let her in.
Yes, please. Thank
All
you,
right.
Judge.
I think she keeps giving up because we didn't know who she was and weren't letting her in. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Ms. Jin, to be clear, this is what you were describing when you connected the AirTags to your phone. This is what comes up, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and this phone number right here, this is the one that you found out was Mr. Andre's second phone number, correct?
Yes. So it was a phone number that I had never explicitly been given by him. And when I typed these digits into my contact book, the contact page actually read Siri found in WhatsApp, meaning that Apple had scanned different apps and found this number on his WhatsApp contact page and synced it with my phone.
Okay.
And it was not the
Understood.
phone number that we primarily used to communicate.
Okay, now I'm showing you what is marked as P20. Do you see what's marked as P20?
Yes.
Okay, and what is this a picture of?
This is the picture of the AirTag that was silent and would not play any sound. And upon closer inspection, there was a small crack or chip where you can see it on the back of the AirTag.
Okay, and when was this picture taken?
It was taken on the night of April 13th when the Austin Police Department officers arrived at my home.
Okay, have you altered this picture in any way?
No,
Okay. And let me ask, what about, there's a little yellow circle on this picture. Was that added after the picture was taken?
correct.
Okay. And from what you can tell, does that circle that was added after the fact, does that hide anything or significantly alter the picture?
No, it is designed to draw attention to the fact that there's a crack on it.
Okay. And so, with that addition, is this still an accurate picture of the AirTag that was found?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit P20 into evidence.
No objection.
P20 is admitted.
Okay. Then I have one more at this time, Ms. Jin. Do you see what's marked as P23?
I do.
Okay, and just in a couple words, what is this a picture of?
This is a picture of the duffel bag that I was describing where I found the second AirTag. And if you look closely, you can see the hidden zipper compartment that's on the interior of the luggage strap.
Okay, and has this picture been altered in any way since it was taken?
No,
When was this taken?
this was also taken in the presence of the APD police officers who arrived at my home on the evening of April 13th.
Okay, and so is this an accurate depiction of the duffel bag as the picture was taken on April 13th?
Yes.
I move to admit P23 into evidence.
No objection.
P23 is admitted.
All right, thank you.
So I think I missed something. Did I hear you say that Mr. Andre never had possession of that duffel?
Correct, Your Honor.
And that it wasn't at the home that you shared with him?
Never.
All right. Thank you.
And just give me one moment to find my place. Okay, in reviewing those pictures, you mentioned APD. So just to be super clear then, upon finding the AirTags, what did you do? Did you report the instance?
Upon finding the AirTags, I was terrified and the combination of the silenced speaker, the tampered AirTag, the fact that they were linked to this second phone number that I had never been given.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to non-responsive again. I think the question was almost a leading question. Did you contact authorities or something akin to that?
What did you do? Did you report this instance? Please answer that question.
Yes, I called 911.
Okay, and so Mr. Andre contends that he placed the AirTags in the luggage that he shipped to you in March. Do you believe this is possible?
For the larger checked luggage with the AirTag that was silent, yes, it is possible because that bag had been in his possession. For the smaller carry-on duffel, it is not possible that he shipped it to me because it was always with me. And it had traveled with me between Austin, California, and then finally Pittsburgh, where I visited my mother for 5 days prior to returning to Austin on April 13th. And out of those locations, the only address that he knew and the only house that he knew very well was my mother's house.
And what do you believe was Mr. Andre's intent in shipping in placing the AirTags?
I believe he was trying to locate me and figure out where I was living. After I broke up with him throughout February and March, he communicated 9 different written attempts to meet with me in person, including 8 attempts to fly directly to me, as well as 1 invitation for me to join him in France, all of which I refused or ignored. But he
So,
was trying to locate me, and I believe that he placed the AirTags to avoid detection so that I would travel with them to my new home with them.
okay, then Miss Jen, or I'll pass the witness at this time.
Well, let me just ask. So how do you think he got the AirTag into the carry-on?
It is still a mystery to me, but what I do know is that he knows my mother's house extremely well. He had lived here for extended periods of time. He had stayed here while recuperating from surgery on his knee last year. He sometimes took her keys and drove her car by himself. And so he knew how to access the house. He knew the layout of the house, everything. And so in terms of the timing of my travels and the fact that I had this carry-on with me, and it didn't alert me when I landed in Pittsburgh from LA, but it started alerting me when I left Pittsburgh for Austin 5 days later. My inference is that he placed it at some point in time when I was in Pittsburgh.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Fraser.
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Jen, per your previous testimony and affidavit, I believe you testified that you first, in this calendar year, traveled to Austin on or about February 24th of 2026. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay. And on or about March 10th of 2026, you moved into the Shoal Creek Boulevard residence. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You've testified via affidavit, but as you sit here, do you recall that you flew to Los Angeles on or about April 3rd for a camping trip in Fillmore?
Yes.
And you were there till about April 8th. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And from California, you then traveled to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on or about April 13th. Is that right?
April 8th is when I flew from LAX to Pittsburgh.
Got it. And you were in Pittsburgh until about April 13th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you stated that on or about April 19th, you left Texas and terminated your lease, correct?
I did not yet terminate my lease yet.
Okay. When did you terminate your lease?
I would have to check that, but sometime later in April.
Okay. If I represented to you in your affidavit, you stated on April 19th, I fled Texas for a different state to be farther away from the last known location of the tracking devices, and I terminated my lease at 5404 Shoal Creek Boulevard. Do you recall that in your affidavit?
I do. That is because after that week, I no longer resided at Shoal Creek. I was too afraid to return to that address.
But as you sit here, you don't believe that you terminated your lease on April 19th, correct?
I told Tony that I was too afraid to return to the residence, and then I communicated in writing later in the month.
Okay, later
just
that
to
month.
confirm.
So when you fled Texas for a different state, you don't have to tell me what state did you go to on April 19th?
I went to Southern California.
Okay, to the state of California. How long were you in the state of California after April 19th?
It makes me uncomfortable to answer these questions in detail given
Your Honor, if you'll
Dr.
instruct the witness,
Louie.
I'm not asking her for very much specifics. I'm talking about states.
All right. So please go ahead and answer what state you're in, and if you
And-
want more
and I think-
information, we'll deal with that.
I apologize. I think the question was, how long was she? She's already testified she was in California. I think the question was, how long? Sorry.
This is a Zoom hearing, and so when we speak conversationally during a Zoom hearing, I can't get either of what both people are saying at that time. So I really do need the awkward pause between speakers so that I'm able to make the record for everyone.
Understood. Your Honor, what I think the witness had testified that she was in California on April 19th, and I believe the question was, how long were you in California?
I was there for about 2 weeks.
So that would put you in 14, what was that? So in early May, you were still in California?
In early May, I returned to Austin, where I signed a new lease in a new apartment because I no longer felt safe living at Tony's address.
Understood. You testified that you're registered to vote in the state of Texas, correct?
Yes,
When did you complete that registration?
in March.
March of 26?
Mhm.
And you'll have to articulate your answers for the record.
In March of 2026, I registered to vote in Texas.
Obviously. And where were you registered prior to that?
I was previously registered in Pennsylvania.
Okay. And you testified, I believe, that you have a Texas driver's license, correct?
This is correct.
When was that issued?
Also in March of 2026.
And prior to having a Texas driver's license, did you have a driver's license from another state?
My previous driver's license was from Pennsylvania.
During the time you dated my client, would you agree that you and he never visited the state of Texas together? Is that accurate?
We had plans to visit Texas together and had extensive conversations about moving to Texas, but we never visited Texas together.
Great. Yeah. Rather than what you talked about, the question being, did you ever physically come to Texas with my client while you were dating?
He invited me to, but I declined.
Okay. So the answer is no, that you never came to Texas with my client while y'all were dating, correct?
Correct.
Excellent. In fact, you have acknowledged in your motion for substituted service that my client works and lives in San Francisco, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And you're not alleging that my client put any AirTags in any of your personal items in the state of Texas, correct?
Like the physical act of placing the AirTags?
Correct.
Correct. I believe that happened outside of Texas in order to locate me.
Right. You've testified that you believe he put some AirTags in your personal belongings when he shipped them to Pennsylvania from California, correct?
Yes.
And then per the judge's questions, you believe that my client put some AirTags in the tote bag that's P23 in the state of Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but nothing in the state of Texas as it relates to AirTags, correct?
Correct.
Now, did you ask my client to ship your California belongings to your mother's home in Pennsylvania?
No, I did not.
Okay. Were you aware that my client was communicating with your mother about the shipment of those items to Pennsylvania?
I was not.
So as you sit here, were you aware of communications between your mother and my client about the shipment of these belongings?
Today? Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
When did you find out about that?
I texted my mother, hey, I think Louie shipped
Oh,
some
ma'am,
of the
I'm going to
things.
object to non-responsive. The question was, when did you find out about that?
After he let me know that he shipped my belongings back to Pittsburgh.
Okay, so approximately when did you find out about the communications between my client and your mother about shipping the belongings?
I believe it was around March 6th.
Okay. And that's of 2026.
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware in those communications that my client shared with your mother a screenshot showing where the luggage were shown to have been delivered?
I'm aware of that today.
And were you aware of that in March of 2026?
No.
So when did you become aware of the screenshot my client shared with your mother regarding the luggage?
It was after I found the AirTags in April.
Okay. And you're not aware of any other contacts that my client has had with the state of Texas other than what you believe his visit in April of this year? Are you aware of any other contacts he has with the state of Texas?
Meaning, has he ever been to Texas?
Yeah, just are you aware of any contacts? Does he do business here? Does he travel here? Does he own property here?
In June of 2025, he texted me that he had previously gone to Texas for a rodeo camp.
Okay. Any other contacts that you're aware of?
He had previously told me that he was planning a business trip to Austin in, I think, early February or late January of this year.
Okay. Any other contacts that you're aware of?
I recall him saying that he has been to Austin before for
Okay.
work trips.
Any other contacts that you're aware of?
No,
Okay. And you didn't personally see my client on April 12th or April 13th in Austin, Texas, correct?
not personally.
Right. You're seeking a protective order because you believe my client, without this protection, will stalk you in the future. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you're not alleging that my client committed family violence against you, are you?
Define family violence.
An act by a member of a family or household against another member of the family or household that is intended to result in physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or sexual assault, or that is a threat that reasonably places the member in fear of imminent physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or sexual assault, but does not include defensive measures to protect oneself.
The reason why I feared his stalking so much is because
Objection, non-responsive. The question was, is she alleging family violence? And then she asked for a definition of family violence.
no, I'm not alleging family violence.
Okay. Ms. Jen, even if my client was here in the state of Texas on April 12th or April 13th, that visit in of itself is not stalking, is it?
I'm going to object. She doesn't need to answer the technical definition of stalking here.
I didn't ask her to, Your Honor.
Right? Then I'm gonna overrule the objection.
So ma'am, you can answer the question.
Can you repeat the question?
Even if my client was in Texas on April 12th or April 13th, that's not stalking, is it?
I disagree with you.
Okay. You believe that if he was present on April 12th or April 13th, his presence at your property was stalking?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that you had represented during your relationship with my client that you wanted to have children with my client? Is that correct?
I'm going to object as to relevance here, Your Honor.
Judge, their relationship, I think part of, they're alleging that my client is a stalker, okay? And I think it's important for you to understand how the relationship ended, what his motivations are. There's objective intent. That's part of what they pled for. So I think it's reasonable and I think it's relevant.
And if I may respond, Your Honor, I would agree for the purposes of the protective order hearing, but we are in a jurisdictional hearing today. I don't think that the background is as relevant as to his contacts in Texas.
Your response, Mr. Fraser?
Yeah, Your Honor, I mean, these are fact issues that are tied into your ultimate issue of a matter of law. You know, she's been able to testify about conjecture, speculation, and I think an important part of your determination is how these parties into the relationship. She talks about, I believe her testimony was that my client ignored her. She's opened the door as to what their relationship was. She's testified about when she broke off the relationship. So I think she's added information that's part of this overall examination for you.
All right, well, it's hard for me to see what is or is not going to be relevant. Y'all have a limited amount of time, so I'm going to give you some leeway on this. So I'll overrule the objection.
So the question, ma'am, was you wanted to have children with my client, correct?
We both said that we wanted to have children with each other.
Okay, so it's your representation that my client indicated to you that he wanted to have children with you.
Yes, because in a text message to me in March, he said, let's start a family within the next 5 or 6 months.
Okay, and this is something that during the relationship, you would express the desire to have children with my client, correct?
He expressed a desire to have children with me on our second date.
Okay, so second date and then the text message that you just testified to, in between those two periods of time, did my client resist the idea of having children with you during the relationship?
No, in fact, he offered a timeline to me because I told him early on in our dating relationship that this was an important topic to me.
Okay, and is it your testimony that you ended the dating relationship with my client?
Correct. All of our communications are in writing following the last time we saw each other in January. And so it is clear from the written communication record that I ended the relationship with him.
Cool.
And following that, he continued to persist in trying to meet with me.
Objection, non-responsive. It was just a yes or no question, and I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, I have a few additional questions.
All right. My staff is indicating they need a break. I really intended to take that a while ago. So we'll go ahead and take the break now. And when we come back, you can ask your additional questions, Ms. Mattioni.
Okay, thank you.
What time would you like us back, Your Honor?
Let's take 15 minutes. So at about 11:40.
Just for timing purposes, could I ask, or because you had mentioned lunch break, are you taking the typical lunch break 12 to 1:30?
Um,
I'm not
I think
requesting
that-
staff. You
I
know where I'm
think-
going to be.
Yeah, no, I think that's the plan.
Okay.
Ms. Williamson, this is off the record.
Thank you, Judge. It was just talking at the same time and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I understand. All right. Does 12 to 1:30 work for everybody? All right, then we can take a shorter break right now then and break again at noon. So let's just take 10 minutes to 11:35.
Okay, Ms. Jen, do you see what is marked as P9?
I do.
Okay, and who are these text messages between? It's only one page.
This is between myself and Louie, his primary phone number.
And on what date are these text messages from?
January 26th, the day after we last saw each other.
Okay, and are the white gray messages Mr. Andre, the blue messages you, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, and have you altered these messages in any way?
No,
Is what is represented here as P9 a true and accurate depiction of your conversation on January 26th?
yes,
Your Honor, I move to admit P9.
No objection.
P9 is admitted.
Thank you. Okay, so looking at P9 here, you talk about potentially going to Austin this weekend. Can you tell me the context of this conversation while you were discussing going to Austin in January?
it was because when we parted the last time, the plan was that we would meet in Austin the following weekend because he had a business meeting to attend there. And he invited me on this trip because we had been discussing moving to Austin, and he felt like it could be a good opportunity for us to get a feel for the city, scope it out, spend some time together there. And following the last time we saw each other, instead, I asked for space and time to reflect on the relationship. And as a result, I told him that going to Austin this weekend doesn't feel right for me.
Okay, thank you. And then, do you now see what is marked as Exhibit P10?
Yes,
Okay, and from what you can tell, these are messages between you and Mr. Andre, is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay, are the blue messages from you, the white gray ones are from Mr. Andre, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, what date are these messages from?
June 10th, 2025.
Okay, and I'll scroll all the way down just so you can see it's only one page. And so, did you alter these messages in any way?
No, they were directly exported from my iPhone.
Okay, so what you're seeing as P10, is this a true and accurate depiction of the conversation between you and Mr. Andre on June 10th, 2025?
Yes,
Okay, Your Honor, I move to admit P10 into evidence.
No objection.
P10 is admitted.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Lee, do you recall that it's Mr. Andre's contention that he had only been to Texas on the 2 instances he described for his layovers? Do you recall that?
yes.
Okay, what did Mr. Andre tell you here?
I was expressing enthusiasm about the potential of going to a rodeo camp where we could learn how to lasso cows, etc. And I shared that with him. And then he responded, I've done this in Texas.
Okay. And then, Ms. Jin, do you see
Let
what
me
it-
just stop you and say, what does LFG mean?
LFG means let's fucking go.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Jin, do you see what is now marked as P11?
I do.
Okay, is this a text conversation between you and Mr. Andre?
Yes,
Okay, and then once again, are the blue messages from you, white ones from Mr. Andre?
correct.
Okay, scrolling all the way down just so you can see. And when are these text messages from?
Last December 31st, 2025.
Okay, have you altered these texts in any way?
No,
Okay, and so is P11 here a true and accurate depiction of your conversation on December 31st, 2025?
yes,
I move to admit P11 into evidence.
No objection.
P11 is admitted.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Jin, in this message here that I'm indicating with my pointer, what is Mr. Andre referencing?
He's referencing ongoing conversations that we were having about moving from San Francisco and living potentially in Texas. And I brought up the idea of Tennessee as well. And he said, I was actually going to bring that up to you as an alternative to Texas because of country music.
Okay. And then I just have one more, Ms. Jin. Do you see what is marked now as P12?
Yes.
Okay. And again, are these white messages from Mr. Andre, blue messages from you? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. When is this conversation from?
This is from March 11th and 12th of this year, 2026.
Okay. Have you altered these messages in any way?
No.
So then is what you see as P12 a true and accurate depiction of your conversation on March 11th and 12th of 2026?
Yes.
Okay. So in this message, Mr. Andre references splitting time between San Francisco, Texas, and Tennessee. Is that correct?
This is correct. He offers for us to split our time between San Francisco and Texas and Tennessee.
Okay. And does that make sense with the other texts we've seen, your ongoing conversations about Texas?
Yes, and it also makes sense because the last location that I had shared with him on Find My was from Texas. And early on in this message, you see that he offers to get on the next plane and come to me. And so,
Okay. And so on March 11, 2026, Mr. Andre had seen through the Find My app that you were in Austin, Texas. Is that correct?
Objection calls for speculation, Your Honor.
I can reword, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your being in Austin, Texas was at this point shared with Mr. Andre. Is that right?
yes, it was shared with him via Find My, and also my mother had told him.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing further from me, Your Honor.
All right.
That was
Then-
you a note.
I'm sorry.
I typed you a message in real time.
Oh. Yeah, P12 wasn't offered or admitted. Did y'all want to do that?
Oh, yes, I apologize. I moved to admit P12 into evidence.
Can we see it again, Judge? There's like a bubble in a letter that I'd like to look at and maybe have it enlarged.
One moment. Okay. Let me know if I need to scroll.
Yeah, I'm just particularly interested in this
This letter.
picture. Right.
Do we know whose handwriting that is?
That
I
was
believe.
mine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can ask. Yeah, Ms. Jen, whose handwriting is this?
It's mine.
Okay. Is this a letter that you had written to Mr. Andre?
In January of this year. Yes.
Okay. So in this picture, it seems like, do you agree that Mr. Andre is sending you a picture of a letter you had recently, or not recently, previously written to him?
That is correct.
Okay. I move to admit P12 into evidence.
No objection.
E12 is admitted.
All right, thank you. Thank you for catching that.
All right, y'all may call your next witness.
We would like to call Stephanie Hopkins. She's in the waiting room.
All right, we'll let her in. Hi, Ms. Hopkins. Will you please raise your right hand where I can see it and I'll swear you in?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning. Would you please state your full name for the record?
Stephanie Hopkins.
And very generally, why are you here on this Zoom this morning?
Because I am Lee's realtor.
Is that how you know Miss Jen or Lee?
Yes.
When did you meet Miss Jen?
I was introduced to her in early March
What was the context of that introduction?
to shop for a home to purchase.
And what was the location that you were looking for the homes? Travis County, Austin?
Austin.
What did you have planned for April 13th of this year?
We had a few showings lined up and she was flying in and we were going to go search. I want to say it was 3 or 4 homes.
And when you say we, it was you and Miss Jen.
That's right.
What happened when she arrived?
So she had texted me coming from the airport and had informed me that she was on her way, she was running late, and that there was 2 strange AirTags that were following her, and she
I'm
wanted.
going to object to hearsay. What Ms. Jin said to her is hearsay.
Yes, I'll re-ask the question, but Miss Hopkins, if you would just try
Sorry.
to explain what Miss Jen said to you, just what happened. So what happened?
Also, Miss Phillips, I'm sorry, since we have a new witness in Zoom, I just wanted to let you know, Miss Hopkins, it's normal to speak conversationally when you're in person. But when I'm trying to make a record and write down every single word that everyone says in this hearing, and we're on Zoom, if you speak or if anyone speaks at the same time as someone else, I can't hear either person's testimony or question or answer. So if y'all could give me an awkward pause between question and answer so that we're sure to get a complete record, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
So I'll ask the question a little bit different way. What happened when Miss Jen arrived at the first home?
She and we went to the trunk of her vehicle to find the AirTags. And can I expand on that?
Yes. Did you hear the AirTags in a vehicle?
We could faintly hear one. It was very difficult. It was very, like we had to put our ear right up, inside the vehicle. And we were like, I think that's, I think that's a beeping. And so we could hear it, but it was very, very faint.
Are you familiar with the sound an AirTag makes when you're trying to locate it?
I am, yes.
Was that the sound you were hearing very faintly in the car?
Yes.
What did you and Miss Jen do next?
We took the larger luggage out of the trunk of the car and brought it into the home we were showing. I was showing her, and we unzipped it. We were trying to hear that same faint beeping in that piece of luggage. We lifted the top, we lifted the back, and we could not hear it when it was inside the house.
What made you believe there was an AirTag in that piece of luggage?
Because it was showing up on her phone.
And you saw her phone showing that it was in the house?
Yes.
Would you say that you spent, how many minutes would you say you spent looking in the larger suitcase?
Probably 5 to 10 minutes. We really searched long and hard because we knew it had to be there, but we couldn't hear it.
Were you able to find that AirTag?
No.
What did you do next?
We replaced the luggage into the trunk of her car, and we played the sound again, and we could faintly hear it again, but we, at that point, closed her trunk and carried on with the tour.
What was your or was it your understanding that Miss Jen was planning on looking for other homes in Austin?
Can you repeat that?
I'll put it a different way. What did Miss Jen say to you after, without saying what she said, what was your understanding of your role in helping her look for homes after this incident?
She put it on pause because she was, well, she put it on pause. She put her search on pause. So we had planned to see future houses the following day, and we canceled those.
Did Miss Jen ask you about any homes to rent in Austin?
Yes.
What was your understanding of her desire to need, or her need for different rentals?
She informed me that she wanted a place that was private and that she could feel safe in because, and so I was trying to search for locations that were different from where she had been, and that were discreet, and not necessarily publicly advertised.
Still in Austin, Texas, correct?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Hopkins, how many articles of luggage were you and Ms. Jen looking at and looking through on, was it April 13th of 2026?
It was April 13th, and we brought the one larger piece inside the home.
Okay, so we have one large piece of luggage. Is this like something that you would check or a carry-on? How would you describe this piece of luggage?
It would be something you'd normally check.
Okay. And what is your understanding of where Ms. Jen had brought this piece of luggage from? Like specifically what state, if you know?
I don't.
Okay. You don't know where she was coming from, is that right?
No, I just
Okay.
knew she landed.
Okay. And so again, your testimony is this large article of luggage you sift through, and are y'all able to find an AirTag in that piece of luggage?
No.
Okay. At any point, did you and Ms. Jen, while you were there, look through, like a black leather piece of luggage?
No.
Okay. So is it, I just want to be sure, y'all looked through one piece of luggage, and when you couldn't find something for your involvement, you were no longer aware of any more AirTags, or were you?
She had informed me there were two.
That's right, but I'm just.
And I had heard yeah. Oh,
That's right. So when Ms. Williamson is waving, we both need to slow down. And again, I just want you to try and answer the questions that I'm asking you specifically. And so let me rephrase the question for you, and let me finish it. So you didn't find an AirTag in the large carry-on, correct?
correct.
On the night or the day of April 13th, did you personally observe any AirTags? Not what anyone told you, but did you personally observe any AirTags in any luggage?
No.
Okay. Were you aware that Ms. Jen broke a lease that she had in Austin, Texas?
No.
Okay. You weren't helping her with any rentals, is that correct?
I ended up not helping her with any rentals.
Okay. As you testify here today, did you assist her in finding any current residence that she's residing in Central Texas?
No.
Okay. And so as you sit here, the search for purchasing a home is still on hold. Is that your understanding as you testify here?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
I have a couple more questions for you, just to clarify. When Miss Jen arrived at the home, you heard AirTags, you didn't see them, correct?
Correct.
Then you moved the large bag into the house.
Correct.
You did not find an AirTag in the luggage in the house.
Correct.
However, as you testified before, there was a reason why you believed there was an AirTag in that piece of luggage that was away from the vehicle.
Correct.
And what was that reason?
We saw it on her phone.
And you could tell that that was a different location from the car.
Yes.
When you returned the large piece of luggage to the car that didn't have the sound, you heard the sound once again there was other pieces of luggage in the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Ma'am, you're excused. And I guess it's just about noon. We'll go ahead and take our lunch break.
Thank
and
you.
then we will break until 1:30.
Your Honor, do you have a preference about us staying muted? Or do you want us to log back on at 1:30? Is that easier? Is that okay?
Either way is fine with me.
Excellent. Thank you.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, my name is Zheyu Su.
And how do you know Miss Jin, Lee Jin?
Oh, she's my daughter.
Do you also know Mr. Andre?
Yes.
And how do you know him?
He stay in my home for like a month because he injured his leg, and also he visited many couple times.
What is your understanding of his relationship to your daughter?
He's a boyfriend.
And what state do you live in?
I live in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh.
What is your understanding of your daughter and Mr. Andre's the current relationship status? Are they still together or are they broken up?
They broke up.
Did Mr. Andre send anything to your home in Pennsylvania?
Yes. Luggage, 3 luggage, and some flowers before. Yeah. I received one in front of my garage door one time. He sent me some maps. At that time, I think that's a Google Maps. I didn't know anything AirTag thing, and also.
So let me ask you a little bit more specific of a question.
Yeah.
When was the first time Mr. Andre sent you a package of Miss Jen's belongings?
I think it's March.
And what happened when the package arrived?
The package arrived. First, he sent me the map, said that the luggage went to other people's home. Then
So let me ask
I
you one
was
more question
working.
about that.
I was working.
Miss
So
Sue.
then second day,
Hang on.
Miss Sue, just wait until I ask you a question.
Okay.
Let me finish the question and then finish your answer so that the court reporter can get everything down.
Okay.
Did Mr. Andre text you that the package had arrived?
Yes.
What did he say in that text?
He just said the luggage arrived, but it seems in other people's front door.
So to be clear, he texted you that the package had arrived to the wrong location.
Yeah.
Did he disclose to you that there were AirTags in the package?
No, he didn't mention the AirTag. At that time, I don't even know the AirTag too.
And so what happened the next day? Did the package arrive?
I find the luggage in front of my garage door.
What was the package?
Yeah, I take the luggage in and open the luggage.
I'm sorry. I am not making a very good record here at all. So I need everyone to be aware of that. And if you see me raising my hand, that means I'm not writing anything down because I can't.
So Ms. Sue, I'll ask you the question and just answer the question I asked you.
Okay.
What was in the package?
On the top of the clothes, there are loving letters handwritten by Louie to Lee Jin, and photos of Louie and Lee Jin together, and the chocolate.
You mentioned earlier that Mr. Andre texted you. Was that the only time he contacted you?
He contacted many times, yeah.
When did he contact you other than those text messages?
He called me from March 6th to 11th, like 5, 6 times. Yeah,
Did you speak on the phone with him?
yes,
You said 5 or 6 times he initiated the call, is that correct?
yes. He called me many times. My husband even asked me why he always call you.
How long were those phone conversations?
Some different. Sometime 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometime half hour, 1 hour. Yeah, like that.
What kinds of things did Mr. Andre talk about on those calls?
They talk about he because I told him that we went to Texas, Austin to travel, me and my daughter. Then I come back to Pittsburgh by myself. Lee stay there. Then he want to know where Lee is, where she live, what her address. I said I don't know. He asked me a couple of times. Then I said he's in Austin. I don't know. Then he asked me um, if he can come to Pittsburgh. I feel confused. I told him because Lee is not here in Pittsburgh. He's in Austin. He want to come here. He said that's his Lee's girlfriend told him the idea.
So you told Mr. Andre that your daughter was living in Austin, Texas, correct?
Yes.
Did you tell him her actual address?
I don't know. Lee didn't tell me.
You don't know, I just want to clarify. Are you saying that you don't know her address?
Yes, I don't know because we rent a Airbnb. After I left, she find another Airbnb. She didn't tell me, and also she doesn't want anybody else know the address. She just don't want to tell me.
So you did not tell Mr. Andre the address because you didn't know it yourself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
So on these multiple calls Mr. Andre had with you, did he ever mention anything about the AirTags in the bags?
No, no. I heard of AirTag from my daughter later on. I don't know anything.
Did Mr. Andre attempt to come to Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Or did he mention that he wanted to come to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, he said he want to come to Pittsburgh.
Did he mention that he was planning to go to Austin?
Um, he didn't. I don't remember that. Yeah,
Okay.
he
the
did
last-
ask her. He did ask her where she is.
When was the last time you spoke with Mr. Andre?
That's March. I think March 11.
Has Mr. Andre attempted to reach out to you since March?
After that, no.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Sue, you testified that my client had reached out to you expressing his desire to come to Pittsburgh, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And Ms. Sue, the court reporter is shaking her head vigorously. If you'll wait till I finish my entire question before you answer, can you do that for me?
Okay. Sorry about it.
It's okay. And I believe you testified then, did you express to my client whether you personally were okay with him coming to Pittsburgh?
I think that's weird because I told him already. My daughter in Austin at that time. Why you want to come to Pittsburgh for? What's for?
And after that conversation, my client didn't come to Pittsburgh, did he?
He come or not, I don't know.
Right. But you, as you sit here under oath, you don't have any knowledge of him coming to Pittsburgh after you had that conversation, do you?
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
At one point during the relationship, did you ever encourage my client to fix the relationship between he and your daughter?
I maybe because in fact I like Louis and Lee together really, but he told me that he don't know why Lee broke up with him, broke up with Lee. He don't understand because Lee always tell him he's a soulmate of her, that she love him. He think Lee still love him, but I said because my daughter don't want to continue the relationship already. You are too young for him, you know. I said, you are not ready to get married or have kids. Then Louis said, "Oh, I'm ready." He immediately showed the ring, the sapphire blue ring, like a Princess Diana, that ring. He bought it for Lee. He said, "I'm ready for get married and have a kid." Yeah.
And Ms. Sue, thank you. When you said someone was too young, were you referring to my client being too young or your daughter being too young or both of them?
Michael, I feel their age gap a little bit.
What is the age gap between your daughter and my client?
My daughter is 30 some, he's 20 some. I feel that's not.
If I represented that your daughter's about 8 years older than my client, does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have to state your answers verbally, a yes or a no.
I don't know exactly, Louis. Right. I know he's 20, not 30 yet, but my daughter is 30, more than 30.
Understood. You were testifying a moment ago, Ms. Sue, about some text communications you had with my client. Do you recall that? Okay. I'm going to attempt to show you what's been marked as respondents 8 for identification. Are you able to see this 2-page document on the screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. And do you see that there's some gray bubbles where it says SU?
Yeah, that's me.
Great. And is this your phone number?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And so the exchanges, now do you see the date here where it says 06/03/2026? Do you see those dates?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with sometimes in other countries rather than the United States where they put the date, then the month, then the year? Are you familiar with how sometimes that happens?
In China, the month date is different than here.
Right. So when you were testifying that you were communicating with my client in March of 2026, is it possible that these communications were the ones you were testifying to?
No, we didn't talk June, no.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't June, but you did communicate with him in March of 2026, correct?
March, yeah, but not June.
That's right. So if the 03 represents the month of March and not the date in June, does that go with your recollection of when you were communicating with my client?
I didn't contact with him in June, no, March.
That's right. And so, Ms. Sue, if this was in March, not June, but March of 2026, is that when you were communicating with him?
The date, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't remember this date.
Okay. But you testified earlier that you did.
Yeah, March 6th. Yes.
Excellent. And you testified earlier that my client sent you I think you called it a map, right? Regarding the luggage.
Yes.
Is this the map that you were referring to?
Yes.
Okay. You're at this time, I'm going to offer respondents 8
No objection.
R8 is admitted.
So Ms. Sue, on what is probably March 6th of 2026,
Yeah,
you received this map, correct?
yes.
Okay. And what did you recall, or even looking at it now, what did you interpret this?
Because this, although the map is right, but the luggage is not there. I asked my husband, look too, he didn't see it.
Right. And looking at this conversation subsequent to you receiving this map, did you and my client exchange communications about your address and where the luggage was being delivered?
He told me the luggage delivered to the wrong place.
And was that your recollection?
What?
Was it your recollection that the luggage was delivered to the wrong place?
I don't know. I was working at that time.
Okay. And in fact, you asked my client, have you sent the right address, 43 Ridgewood,
Yes,
McDonald?
I asked him, yeah, but
Right.
the luggage is not there.
Okay. And so he then follows up later and asks you, hey, Sue, were you able to find the suitcases? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have to articulate your answers, yes or no.
Yes,
Okay.
he asked me, yeah.
And in fact, you responded saying, yes, they are right in front of the driveway, correct?
Yeah, that's which day? Let me see.
Sure.
I remember the second day I got the luggage.
And if I represented that these dates are in March 6th of 2026, does that sound about the time that you received the luggage?
I don't know. I don't exactly know the date. I remember the second day I after work I got the luggage in front of my driveway. First day is not there. But I from the map I see the luggage it is should deliver the right place. I think so. Because it's 43 Ridgewood Drive.
And what is
Deliver
43
guy
Ridgewood?
might deliver to the wrong place.
Right. And through the communications with my client, would you agree that the luggage ultimately wound up in the right place at your residence?
I think that day I remember is that day that the suitcase is not delivered to my place because I asked my husband to check. He said that they're non-suitcase.
But Ms. Sue, let me ask you a question. That through this exchange, these communications, and you can't talk while I'm asking you a question, okay?
Okay.
So through these communications and through the use of this map, did you ultimately receive your daughter's luggage?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I believe you testified previously that you received luggage from my client, correct?
Yeah, I received luggage.
In fact, you testified that you opened up the luggage and you saw chocolates.
Yeah, chocolate, photos, yeah.
So my question for you, ma'am, is through your communication with my client and using this map, the luggage was ultimately delivered to you, correct?
I think it's second day delivered to me, yes.
That's right. You got it on the second date, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I'll pass the witness.
I just have one question for you, Miss Sue.
Yeah.
During your communications with Mr. Andre, did he ever disclose the AirTag?
No, I don't even know anything about AirTag.
All right, I'll pass the witness. Thank you, Miss Sue.
Nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Miss Sue.
You're welcome.
You are excused. And y'all may call your next witness.
I'm going to call our last witness, Luis Andre.
All right, Mr. Andre, would you raise your right hand and be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And sir, I just have a few brief questions for you. You were in a dating relationship with my client Lee Jin, correct?
Yes,
And I think y'all broke up earlier this year, is that correct?
that's right.
And then up until around February 25th-ish, kind of end of February, the two of y'all actually shared location on your respective iPhones, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, and just for the record, right, what that means is on your, both of you use iPhones. You use an iPhone, right?
yes,
Okay, and my client used an iPhone as well, as far as you knew, correct?
that's right.
And you can share your location where she can say you may not know where she is, but you know where her iPhone is at all times when she shared her location with you, correct?
Yes, she did.
And you did the same for her, correct?
That's right.
And then around the time that y'all were breaking up, late February 26th, she stopped sharing her location of her iPhone with you, and of course you stopped sharing your iPhone location with her, correct?
That's right.
And then you were aware, of course, that her mom lived in Pennsylvania. You had been there before, correct?
Yes,
And early March, I think it was March 5th, you shipped these bags. You shipped bags that were owned by Miss Jen, to Miss Jen's mother in Pennsylvania, correct?
yes, correct.
And the purpose of that were for the bags to eventually make their way to Lee Jen, correct?
Uh, the purpose was to ship it to her mom's house.
Well, they were Miss Jen's bags, correct?
That's right. Yes,
You had them from the relationship, but they were owned by Miss Jen, correct?
yes, correct.
And you told Miss Jen's mother, I'm going to ship them to you, her mother, correct?
Yes, exactly.
You asked her to return them to Jen, correct?
Yes,
And at that time, you didn't know where Miss Jen was located, correct?
no, I didn't know.
And you didn't know she didn't even know what state she was living in, correct?
No,
Well, sorry, it's a poorly worded correct question. It is correct that you did not know what state Miss Jen was residing in when you shipped the bags to Pennsylvania, correct?
correct. I did not know.
Okay. Before you shipped the bags, you did put an AirTag in them, correct?
Yes, correct.
I think you put an AirTag in each bag, correct?
Correct.
You concealed the AirTag in the bag, correct?
I put them in the cover in the zip.
Okay, where essentially you unzip the fabric in
Yep.
the suitcase and you put the AirTag under the fabric and zip it back up, correct?
That's right.
And you heard Miss Jen testify that whenever she observed the AirTags that they had been tampered with. You heard that testimony?
Yes, I did hear that.
I guess I'll ask for the record. Did you tamper with the AirTag at all?
There was one that was damaged, and so I put tape on it so that it doesn't open up and get secured during the shipping.
Okay. It was damaged by a crack in the back of it. Is that correct?
I assume so.
Which impacted the ability of it to make a noise for location purposes, correct?
I assume so.
Now, you never told my client that you were still in communication with my client, correct?
Yes, I was.
Y'all were texting with one another still, correct?
Yes.
You told her that you were going to be seeing the bags to her through her mother, correct?
Yes, correct.
You did not tell her that you were placing an AirTag in the bags, correct?
No, I did not.
Okay, and again, poorly worded question, just to be clear for the records. It is true that you did not tell Miss Jen that you had placed AirTags in these bags that were supposed to make their way to her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we went through the exhibit with your lawyer, Respondent's Exhibit 8. Let me just share my screen with you. As I understand your position, you're saying, well, but look, I did send Respondent's Exhibit 8 to her mother when she couldn't locate the bags, correct?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Right. As I understand your explanation for Respondent's 8 in reviewing your response to the to the protective order application, is you believe that you disclosed the AirTags to my client through her mother, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and your proof of that, or your explanation for that, is Respondent's Exhibit 8, correct?
Yes, and I also FaceTime with her mom and showed her the location of the AirTags of the green circle.
Well, you show the location, just like you did in these text messages, you can say, well, I can see where the bags are right here, correct?
Yes, and I showed her on my screen the location of the AirTags.
Right. In nowhere in these text messages do you say the way I can tell where the bags are is because there are AirTags in them, correct?
Yes.
Well, that was correct, the way I put it, right?
Sorry, can you say one more time? I
Right.
didn't hear exactly what you said.
You never explained, how old is Miss Jen's mother? Do you know?
In her 60s.
Okay. You never told her there was an AirTag in the bag, correct?
I did tell her.
You showed her the location of the bag, sir, but you never told her there was an AirTag in there, correct?
No, I did tell her they were AirTags, and I also showed her the locations of the AirTags.
Okay, let me ask it this way. It responds as Exhibit 8. At no point do you say there's an AirTag in the bag, correct?
Correct.
You have nothing in writing at all telling my client's mother that there's an AirTag in the bag, correct?
Correct.
You never told my client's mother, hey, let Lee Jin know that there are AirTags in the bag, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when these bags are kind of in circulation on their way to my client, you became aware that she was living in the state of Texas, correct?
From what I remember, yeah.
Right. I believe around the same time period that you're seeing these text messages, you had a phone call with her mother, correct?
Yes, we did have a phone call.
And you asked her where her daughter was living, correct?
I think her mom told me where she was.
And she
I
told
did
you that
not-
she's, do your version, okay, but regardless, she told you that she was living in the state of Texas, correct?
She did tell me that, yes.
Okay, which you would then know is the destination for the bags, correct?
She did not tell me that the bags would end up in Texas.
Well, she told her that's where her daughter was living, correct?
Yes, correct. But she,
Okay. In the bag, the destination of the bags were her daughter, correct?
no, I'm not aware that the bags would then be shipped to Texas.
Okay. You were aware the bags are going to or be delivered to my client. We just said that a few minutes ago, correct?
Yes, correct.
And I guess just for the record, as I understand your explanation, you heard the testimony from the landlord earlier today, correct?
Yes, I did.
In your testimony is that you were not in the state of Texas in April of 2026, correct?
Correct. I was not.
And how many times have you been in the state of Texas?
A couple of times.
And remind us for the record when those times were.
In May 2024 for international layover.
In what other time?
And the other one was on the way back. So it was also an international layover.
And then I believe we did this through my client, but let me just wrap up with this. Sir, I'm going to show you what's marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 11. By the way, it is true, sir, that you put a letter for my client in these bags along with the AirTags, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And this is after y'all had broken up, correct?
Yes, these were old letters that I wanted to give back.
Well, and I don't know, have a better way of putting it, but they were love letters, correct?
Sure. Yeah, correct.
And let me show you. Respondent to Exhibit 11, just around the same time period where you're talking to my client's mother. You texted the text messages contain showing a Respondent to Exhibit 11 to my client, correct?
You mean you're asking if I saw that?
Yeah, these are text messages between
Yes,
you
that's right. Yes,
and
correct.
my client, correct?
Correct.
And I'm not certain that my notes are bad. For the record, I'd offer Respondent's 11. I'm sorry, Petitioner's 11. It may already be in, but I'd offer Petitioner's 11.
To the extent it hasn't already been admitted, no objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, petitioner's 11 was admitted this morning.
Okay. And y'all had talked about Texas before. text messages with my client, correct?
Correct.
And then let me. And then let me just last show you Petitioner's Exhibit 12. You see how these are text messages. I believe these are also in evidence of March 2026, the same time where you're talking to, actually, this is shortly after talking to my client's mother, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then after learning, the bags are in circulation, after learning that my client was living in Texas, you texted my client on March 11th, 2026, asking to meet up, stop being weird, and asking, let's also split our time between San Francisco and Texas, Tennessee, correct?
Yes, I suggested that.
And when you sent this text message, you were aware based on the conversation you'd had with my client's mother that my client was living in Texas, correct?
I was aware that she was looking for places in Tennessee and Texas with her mom, but I did not know at the time that she was living in Texas.
You knew she was located in Texas, correct?
From what I remember, I knew she spent time in Texas,
Okay.
and I know that Texas and Tennessee would be the two states that she was considering.
I'll pass the witness.
And Your Honor, before I begin, I'm happy to take my client on direct now for efficiency's sake. I do have one more witness. He's about a 5-minute witness. So I would prefer, but it's obviously up to you. If you can give me about a 5-minute warning, maybe, and I can wrap up my direct, call in Mr. Ritter, and then I'll likely close.
All right, Mr. Beck.
Yes, I'm happy to give you a 5-minute warning.
Wonderful. Then may I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Andre, where do you currently reside?
I reside in San Francisco in California
Okay, and how long have you been a resident of San Francisco, California?
for about 4 years.
Okay. Are you an American citizen?
No, I am not.
Okay. So what's your status briefly?
I am on a O1 visa.
Okay. And so what nationality are you?
I am French.
Okay, got it. When do you approximately believe that you and Ms. Jin broke up?
I would say around March.
Okay. And that's March of this year?
Yes.
And briefly, but if you can, why do you believe the two of you broke up?
I didn't want the communication to further escalate, and I didn't want any further conflict. And so Ms. Jen sent me a long email at the end of March, to which I decided to not respond.
Okay. Had the two of you come close to breaking up prior to the breakup in March that you just testified to?
I would say in December, they had been some significant strains back in December, and I had considered breaking up.
Okay, in December of 2025, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, briefly, what were some of the issues that were going on between you and Ms. Jin in December of 2025?
I was in China initially to visit Ms. Jin's sick grandfather. And essentially last December, there was some kind of argument, and she left me behind in a hotel in China. I didn't hear about her for about a couple of days. And I was in China for a while because I was essentially renewing my US visa. And so instead of taking a few days, it ultimately took a few months. And so in mid-December, I received a notification that my US visa is ready for pickup. And so I decided to go to the US Embassy and pick it up. And in the meantime, Ms. Jin comes back, tries to contact me again and apologize for what happened, to which I do not respond and decide to come back to the United States.
Okay. In December of 25, did you receive a communication from Ms. Jin on the heels of the events that you just testified to?
Yes, Ms. Jin tried to contact me and send me messages of apology to help me understand her emotional distress. And for me, that was not sufficient. And so I decided to not respond to her calls and messages and emails. And then I received a very long apology email.
Okay. And Mr. Andre, I'm attempting to show you what's been marked as Respondent's Exhibit number 7 for identification. Does this appear to be an email from Ms. Jin to you on December 12th of 2025?
Yes, that's correct. I received this in
Okay.
December.
And scrolling down, is it ultimately signed by someone named Bebs?
Yes, these were nicknames we were giving to each other.
Okay, and which nickname? I mean, did y'all both use the nickname Bebs, or did she have Bebs and you had a different nickname?
She had Bebs and I had a different nickname.
Okay, got it. So, do you represent that this is an email that you received from Ms. Jin on December 12th of 2025?
Yes, correct.
Okay, you're at this time. I'll offer Respondent 7.
Yes, for the record, it's the issue of relevance to personal jurisdiction, but no other objection.
All right, R7 is admitted, and I will determine whether it's relevant or not once I've heard all the evidence.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Andre, a second ago, you referred to this as an apology email. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and we see here in the first sentence, Ms. Jin stating, "I want to begin by saying how deeply sorry I am for the hurt and confusion I caused you," right?
Yes.
Here in the second paragraph, Ms. Jin acknowledges that she grew up feeling very unloved and abandoned as a child, correct?
Yes, correct.
And she goes on to state that, and through both that experience and past relationships, I have developed deep anxieties around whether love can last and whether I am truly worthy of it, correct?
Yes, correct.
And she goes on to admit that, let me just get that there. She also states, when I am triggered, old fears resurface, that I'm too much, that I'll be left, that the love I feel so strongly might not be matched. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And she goes on to state, but sometimes I get triggered and my mind spins narratives to protect me from a betrayal I fear might be coming, even though you've never given me a real reason to doubt you, right?
Yes.
Okay. In this bottom sentence on page 2 of the exhibit, she states, that led me to make unfair and ungrounded accusations, and I'm sorry for how bewildering and hurtful this must have seemed, correct?
Yes, I see that.
And she admits to her mind jumped to catastrophic assumptions, right?
Yes.
Okay. She states, I reacted impulsively, irrationally, and emotionally, correct?
Yes.
And so along these lines, in real briefly, if you can, is there an age difference between you and Ms. Jin?
Yes.
And what is that age difference?
Almost 8 years.
And who is the older between the two of you?
She is.
Okay. During your dating relationship, was there a pattern that developed when and if Ms. Jin was upset with you?
Yes, when she would get upset, there would be a pattern her being very critical of me and accusatory. And so, you know, that was pretty painful for me. And so I tried to, you know, be as empathetic and caring as possible to be able to help her regulate her emotions.
Okay, when you say you're trying to be empathetic, how would you display that empathy in your communications or interactions with Ms. Jin?
Mostly to listen to her, listen to what's going on, and then try to understand if I did anything wrong. And then afterwards behave in a way that makes her feel seen and understood, such that the trigger and the emotional distress can decrease over time.
Okay. When the two of you dated, where did the two of you primarily reside?
Initially in San Francisco, and then we spent time in Utah and Pittsburgh.
Okay. Did the two of you ever spend any time together in the state of Texas?
No, never.
Did you, have you ever lived in the state of Texas?
No, I have not.
What contact have you had with the state of Texas?
I've been there for almost 36, 48 hours during those 2 layovers.
Okay. Do you conduct business in the state?
No, I don't.
Do you own any property in the state?
I don't.
There were exhibits admitted into evidence. Have you ever attended a rodeo camp in the state of Texas?
I wish I did, but no, I did not.
So I'm going to show you what's been admitted as the petitioner's 10. So maybe you can give some context to this. Mr. Andre, showing you what's been admitted as petitioner's 10. You would acknowledge that on or about June 10th of 2025, you texted, "I've done this in Texas," with what appears to be a semicolon and a closed parenthetical. Is that right?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, well then how do you explain, if you've testified that you haven't done a rodeo camp in the state of Texas, this communication?
This must have been a typo, because I probably meant either I want to do this or I wish I had done this or something like this, because I'm very allergic, and so this is not even something that I unfortunately would consider doing.
Okay. Showing you also what's been admitted into evidence. Are you seeing on your screen?
Yes, I can see that.
Wonderful. And can you provide a little context about, it appears on March 11th of 2026, you sent Ms. Jin a note. Who wrote this note?
Ms. Jin wrote this note.
Okay, when did you receive possession of this note?
I saw this note on my bed when I arrived at the house that we rented in Utah, Salt Lake City.
Okay, when were you renting a home in Salt Lake City, Utah?
We rented a house starting January of 2026.
Okay, and so was Ms. Jin present when you received this note?
No, she was not.
Where was she, to the best of your recollection?
So she was already in Pittsburgh, back in Pittsburgh, and I was, I went back to San Francisco for a work trip. She needed some space, which I respected, and then 10 days later, I received communication from her saying that she decided to come back to Pittsburgh, and she left the house in Utah. And I asked why, and she said because I did not come back to Salt Lake City. And so I had to come back to Salt Lake City for a few hours to be able to pick up all my belongings that she had left behind. And I saw this note on the bed when I arrived in the room.
Okay, can you read the contents of this note, please?
It says, "There's nothing I would have wanted more than for it to be you, maybe in the next lifetime," with a heart.
Okay. And so, after receiving this note, to the best of your knowledge, did Ms. Jin ever return to the Salt Lake City rental unit?
No, she never came back.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, did she ever come back to San Francisco, California?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think
Okay. Ms. Jin, through her testimony and application, has represented that you were present in the state of Texas on April 12th of 2026. Were you present in the state of Texas on April 12th of 2026? I'm asking.
No, I was not. I was not.
Okay. Since the layover in 2024, have you been to the state of Texas?
No, I have not.
Where were you on April 12th of 2026?
I was in San Francisco at my office and then running errands, and then I went to a friend's house party that same evening.
Okay. On April 12th of 2026, did you make any purchases in the state of California?
Yes, I did. I bought some food for lunch. I went also to the Container Store to buy boxes because I was moving places in San Francisco. And then I went out with some friends for dinner that same evening.
Mr. Andre, I'm going to attempt to show you what's been marked as Respondent's Exhibit 1 for identification. What does this document appear to be?
This is the receipt of my purchases at the Container Store on April 12th.
Okay. And does this document appear to state order date Sunday, April 12th, 2026?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And did you purchase something in person or was this online?
No, I went to the store in person to buy boxes.
Okay. And where was the store? In what city and what state?
In San Francisco, California.
Okay. At this time, I'll offer Respondents 1.
No objection.
R1 is admitted.
Okay. And Mr. Andre, attempting to show you what's been marked as Respondents Exhibit 2. Are you seeing that on your screen?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. What is this document?
It is a receipt of Uber Eats of my lunch order.
Okay. And what date did you place this lunch order?
On April 12th, around 1 p.m.
Okay. And in what city did you receive the food subject to this order?
In San Francisco, in California.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'll offer Respondents 2.
No objection.
R2 is admitted.
Okay. And again, just so I'm clear, is it your representation that you were in San Francisco, California on April 12th, 2026 at lunchtime?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Andre, showing you what's been marked as Respondents Exhibit number 3. Does this appear to be some credit card records, approximately 10 pages worth, for an American Express card of yours?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And have you redacted some information in this document?
Yes, correct.
Okay. But does this document show some activity of yours during the month of March of 26 and into April of 26?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Looking at this document, which again is marked as Respondents 3, at this time, Your Honor, I'll offer Respondents Exhibit 3.
No objection.
R3 is admitted.
And so, Mr. Andre, looking at page 5 of Respondents 3, do we see some purchases that were made on April 12th of 2026?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. And in fact, you testified previously about a Container Store purchase. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And what about this second purchase on April 12th of 2026? What is that?
This is a dinner that I had with a friend.
Okay. And where did you have that dinner?
In San Francisco, California.
Okay. And even we have a subsequent, did you make a purchase on April 13th of 2026?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And do you recall what that purchase was?
I think it was a coffee with a friend.
Okay. Do you recall if that was morning, afternoon, evening?
I believe it was morning.
Okay. Um, you purchased and you've testified to buying containers on April 12th of 2026 in San Francisco. Why were you buying containers?
Because I was moving places in San Francisco.
Why were you moving?
One, I want to have my own space, and also I didn't feel entirely safe at the house in San Francisco.
Okay, let's start with when you say own space, were you residing with someone?
Yes, I was part of a group house.
Okay, and how many people lived at the group house?
5 people, 6 people.
Okay. And then to the second thing, what describe for the court why you felt unsafe at the residence you were residing in mid-April of 2026?
Because I felt that, maybe Miss Jane may want to stop by my place. I was traveling, and, there might have been some remaining items that she might be asking for, or she also requested someone to maybe come to my place to pick up some items. So I just wanted to completely change and just have my own new apartment for myself.
When was the last time you texted Ms. Jin that you recall?
That was in mid-March.
Okay, of 2026?
That's right, yes.
And what about emails? When was the last time you emailed with her?
That I sent an email, that I received an email.
The last time you exchanged emails with Ms. Jin?
The last time was an email that I sent from that I received from Miss Jin at the end of March.
Okay. I believe Ms. Jin testified previously on direct examination that there was maybe as many as 9 times that you pursued communications with her. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes, I recall.
Okay. I mean, did you indeed pursue communications with Ms. Jin 9 times?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what was the time frame of when you were pursuing those communications?
Well, that was, since the time that she left, the house in Utah without saying anything.
Okay. And why were you trying to have those communications with her?
Well, I first wanted to understand what's going on. My philosophy then was, she must be going through something. Or I may have done something wrong, and having those constant text and email communication doesn't work. And so my intention back then was, I wanted to be able to sit down or even have a call in order to have an adult conversation and simply understand what she was going through at the time.
Okay. Did you indeed invite Ms. Jin to France?
Yes, I did.
Okay, why did you invite her to France?
Because it was my grandpa's 100th birthday, and my grandpa is incredibly important to me, and I know that Miss Jin and my grandpa had, a good relationship, and I thought it would have been a good opportunity to be able to repair and also hear what she's going through.
Okay. When did
so
you extend? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
When did you extend that invitation to her?
That was just a few days before I arrived in Paris for my grandpa's birthday.
Okay, but approximately when was that? Was that in February, March, April?
That was very likely at the very end of February, because my grandpa's birthday is on March 3rd.
Okay. did Ms. Jin ask you to return her belongings to her?
Yes, you did.
Okay, I mean, did she do that via text, email, oral communication? How did she express that ask to you?
She asked over text and an email.
Okay. And so she testified previously that you ignored her request that she be able to come to San Francisco and pick up the items. Do you recall her testifying to that?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, did you indeed ignore her request to pick up the items?
Yes, I didn't want her to come to pick it up, so I decided to ship it instead.
Okay. Was her ask for you to return the belongings as part of her request to pick them up, or was that a subsequent or separate conversation?
Do you mean is her request a separate conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, I think you testified that she asked you to return all of her belongings, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Was that part of her request to pick them up, or was it a different ask about returning the belongings?
That was her request to come picking it up.
Okay. What specifically did you ship? Can you describe for the court, were these boxes, bags, how many items we're talking about?
These were 2 suitcases and 1 big box, and I put in there, all the items that I could find in my house, and that include also a lot of valuable items. So expensive shoes or expensive like sweaters and stuff like that.
Okay, I mean, on cross-examination, there was some testimony that you put letters in one of these articles, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, were these old letters? Were they old letters and new letters? Can you describe for the court what the context were, what type of letters these were?
These were not even like short notes from beginning of 2025 or end of 2024.
Okay. And what was your purpose of why were you sending these letters along with her personal items?
Twofold. I mean, one, I was looking through all the items and I came across those things, and so I wanted to just give it back to them, to her. And back then I had no really idea what was going on, and so I thought that was a nice gesture, so that to show essentially care and empathy. That was my intention back then.
Okay.
And I also put like her favorite chocolate in there and some like like those letters and chocolates.
Okay. And when did you send these items?
That was like beginning of March.
Okay. And the items that you talked about showing you it's been admitted as petitioners number 23. Mr. Andre, have you ever seen this bag before?
No, I never saw this bag before.
Okay, this was not one of the suitcases or luggage items that you sent from San Francisco. Is that right?
That's right. I've never seen this before.
Okay. So, and Mr. Gilbreath asked you this, but you acknowledge that you put AirTags or other devices in these 3 articles of luggage, correct?
Yes, correct.
Why did you put AirTags in these articles of luggage?
To ensure that the luggages will arrive safely.
Okay. Have you ever done this for your own luggage?
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell Ms. Jin's mother about the AirTags?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and separate from the map that you showed, I mean, was this a conversation you had with Ms. Sue?
Yes, we FaceTimed.
Okay, so how many AirTags did you use?
3 AirTags, 1 for each luggage.
Okay, did you own these AirTags prior to the date that you shipped these items to Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Okay, how did you ship these articles? Was it, United States Postal Service, FedEx? Describe for the court how you did that.
FedEx.
Okay. And Did you alter any of the 3 AirTags in any way as part of the shipment that you've testified to on or about March 6th?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, I believe you testified about a piece of tape, right?
Yes, there was one that looked damaged, and that opened. So I just put tape around it to be able to make sure that it's secure and during the shipping.
Okay, now you testified previously that you owned these 3 AirTags prior to the date of shipping, right?
Yes, that's right.
So for this damaged AirTag, was it damaged prior to March 6th of 2026?
Yes.
Okay, and where did you place the AirTags in each article?
In the zipper pockets of each luggage.
Okay, I mean, you testified there was a box, right?
That's right.
Did it have a zipper package?
Yes, in the box there was a duffel bag, and I put the AirTag in the little zip pocket within that duffel bag.
Okay. Why didn't you share with Ms. Jin that you were using the AirTags?
Because I told her mom, and so whatever I would tell her mom, I would assume that obviously this would be directly communicated to her daughter.
Okay. And Mr. Andre, showing you what's been admitted as respondents 8. These are the text messages that you shared with Ms. Jin's mother, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And let's see. There's a lot of numbers in the right-hand corner here. Do they correspond to any phone numbers that you have and you utilize?
Yes, these are my 2 phone numbers.
Okay. And when you see a date that says 06032026, what calendar, month, and date and year do you believe that corresponds to?
That's March of 2026.
And the 06 being the date in 03 March, is that your understanding?
That's right, exactly.
Okay.
Mr. Fraser, sorry to interrupt. You're at about 5 minutes left.
Excellent, thank you. What was depicted here on Respondents 8, Mr. Andre, in the bottom right corner of this map-looking thing?
I sent a screenshot to Miss Jin's mother, showing the location of her house compared to the location of the AirTags.
Okay, and so how do we identify which the house was and where the AirTags were?
43 Ridgewood Drive is her mom's address, and where it's circled in green is the location of the AirTags.
Okay, and so what was your purpose of showing this to Ms. Sue?
To make sure that she's aware that they may have been delivered to the wrong location, so that, if she's at home or somebody else is at home, to be able to pick them up.
Okay, and is it your understanding that the items got to Ms. Sue's home on or about that date?
Yes.
Okay. And I think it's clear, but you shipped these articles from California to which state?
To Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Did you travel to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in April of 2026?
No, never.
When was the last time you were in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
That was beginning of January 2026, and that is when Miss Jin and myself came back to Pittsburgh to visit her mom and family.
Okay. And to conclude real quick, Mr. Andre, what was your purpose of using these AirTags in the 3 articles when you were shipping them from California to Pennsylvania?
To simply ensure that they arrive at her house safely, especially given the valuable items in there.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
And just briefly, sir, even under your testimony, you never told Miss Miss Sue that she needs to remove the AirTags, correct?
No, I made her aware that there are AirTags in the luggages.
Well, and again, you said, I think the quote was, I assume that that would be directly communicated to my client, her daughter. During that time period where you say you had this conversation, where you
Yep.
verbally told my client's mother about the AirTags, during that same time, Petitioner's Exhibit 12, you're texting with my client, correct?
Yes, we're still in communication.
Okay, and I think we said this, but to be super clear, at no point during these communications you say, hey, did your mom let you know that there's AirTags in the bags that you're about to receive or anything like that, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and just to be clear, the way an AirTag works is if you're synced to the AirTag, because your phone number was synced to the AirTag, correct?
Yes, that's right.
In which phone number?
My US number.
Which is a different phone number than the phone number that you text with my client with
That's
about,
right. Yes.
correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, but to be clear, if my phone number is synced to an AirTag just like yours was, I can log on to my iPhone under Find My, and I can see where that AirTag is anywhere in the world, correct?
Yes, you can do that with an AirTag, yes.
Okay, what I can also do, and you had the ability to do that with the AirTag all the way until April 13th when my client found the AirTags, correct?
No, I didn't have them on my phone anymore.
Well, at no point did you forget the device from your phone, correct?
At no point what?
What I can do if I have a device on my phone, an item on my phone, is I can forget the device to where I can no longer track it, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, at no point did you do that, correct?
No, I did.
Okay, and you had no documentary proof that you did that, correct?
No, back then the AirTags were, I mean, I didn't really pay attention to it.
Okay, let me show you on Respondents Exhibit 3 just briefly on this issue about whether or not you were in Texas on April 12th. You'll agree with me that the landlord's testimony was that you were in Texas on April 12th at 1:45 p.m., correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, which, by the way, 1:45 p.m. Texas time would be 11:45 a.m. in San Francisco, correct?
Yes, correct.
The first purchase that you have on April 12th of 2026 in San Francisco is this Container Store, correct?
Yes, correct.
Which, by the way, that Container Store I looked is about 15 minutes from San Francisco Airport, correct?
Yeah, it's about that time.
Okay, and then looking at your document, the receipt for the first purchase. By the way, for the record, that flight from Austin, Texas to San Francisco is about 3 hours, correct?
I don't know. I haven't been to Austin.
And have you looked to see if there was a flight the afternoon of April 12th after you were allegedly in Austin, Texas, but you say you're in San Francisco?
Did you say if I checked if there was a flight?
Right.
No, I did not check that.
Back to the receipt. The first receipt that you have and first purchase that you have for the date that my client alleges you were in Texas at 1:45 p.m. The first timestamp that you have for any document is 6:09 p.m. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Which, to be clear, that's 6:09 p.m. California time, or correct, Pacific time,
Yes, Pacific time.
which would be 8:09 p.m. Texas time, Central Standard Time, correct?
Yes, correct.
Mr.
And
Gilbreath, you've also got about 5 minutes left.
Okay, let me just finish with this. I think we all know this. Uber Eats, you have an Uber Eats receipt. I can log on to Uber Eats right now and order food from any location in the world to be delivered to any location in the world, correct?
Yeah, you can do that.
I'll pass the witness.
Yeah, just real quick. Mr. Andre, regarding the Uber Eats item, where did you place that order on April 12th of 2026? Where were you physically when you placed that order?
I was in my work office
And
in San Francisco.
what city is that in?
In San Francisco, California.
And where was that food delivered?
To my office.
In San Francisco, California?
Yes, correct.
Where did you eat that food?
At my desk in my office in San Francisco, California.
Got it. And what's been admitted as respondents to is that this order took place and was delivered at 1:13 p.m. Is that Pacific time on April 12th of 2026?
Correct.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Just really briefly, sir, had you traveled anywhere outside of California in April 2026?
April 2026?
Right.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, you have a car rental purchased on this credit card a few days before the date in question, is that correct?
Yes, I think I have that, yes.
Okay. And specifically, that's Sixt car rental, correct? On
Yes,
April
correct.
5th. And one of the vehicles that Sixt leases out, they do luxury vehicles, correct?
They do all types of vehicles.
It's a higher end car rental, correct?
You can say that, yeah.
One of the things they lease out are Teslas, is that correct?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Andre, this car that you rented in April of 2026, what kind of car was it?
That was very, very likely either a Jeep or a BMW.
Okay, why were you renting a car in April of 2026?
Because I have to commute all the time, and that's a more cost-efficient way to do it rather than taking an Uber every time.
Okay, so the car rental in April of 2026, where did you operate that motor vehicle, in which state?
In California.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
If I could ask just one quick question with my time. Let's see, sir, I'm going to show you just really quickly. Petitioner's Exhibit 3. Is this a text message that you sent to Alex on April 21st, 2021?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, offer Petitioner's Exhibit 3.
Can you just scroll down, Mr. Gilbreath, real quick?
Sure.
Okay, no objection.
All right, petitioner's 3 is admitted.
Okay, and it states that you've been traveling with family you've been traveling for family reasons, correct?
Ultimately, it got canceled. I was not able to travel for family.
The words in this text, sir, is that you were traveling for family, correct?
Yes, that's what he says, yes.
Nothing further.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. So both sides rest and close?
No, Your Honor, I remember I had the reservation for Mr. Ritter, and I'll make him so quick.
All right.
So if I may call Mr. Ritter, Julius Ritter.
All right, Mr. Ritter. Did I swear you in here?
Can you hear me right?
Mr. Ritter, did I swear you in earlier?
Yes, you did, Your Honor.
All right, so you're still under oath.
Mr. Ritter, would you state and spell your name for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Julius Ritter, Julius Ritter.
Right. And Mr. Ritter, where do you currently reside?
I reside in San Francisco.
How long have you resided in San Francisco?
I've resided here since 2024.
Okay. And how do you know my client, Mr. Andre?
We actually live together in a group house with 7 bedrooms.
Okay. Do you currently, are you still currently a roommate of Mr. Andre, or was that in the past?
I'm still roommates, still living in the same spot that I got to, like, in which context I got to know him first.
Okay. Did you, through that relationship, did you have an opportunity to interact with Mr. Andre on April 11th of 2026?
Yes.
Okay. And describe briefly how you personally interacted with Mr. Andre on April 11th of 2026. I mean, what did y'all do?
For sure. So Mr. Andre invited me to an event, to a birthday party. via text around 6:30 p.m. shortly after he arrived at us, and then we in person quickly figured out that'd be fun to actually go. So him, me, and a third person, a friend of mine, got into a car and we're heading over to the party.
Okay. And how long were you at the party?
I think sometime around midnight.
And did you leave the party with Mr. Andre?
Yes, and I remember that precisely because I was very tired that night and I wanted to go home earlier, but him being, a social person and being around his friends was not as easy to move to leave as I had anticipated.
Okay. And when did you have an opportunity to interact with Mr. Andre on the day of April 12th, 2026?
Yes, I had. So I offered my help with moving some of his stuff to a new space. We carried large plastic boxes with clothes primarily, as far as I remember, to a new place on the mission.
Okay. And where did that interaction, what city and state did that interaction take place on April 12th of 2026?
Also here in San Francisco.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
I guess just 2 questions with my time, or 2 or 3 questions. So the time that you saw Mr. Andre on the 12th would be in the evening, is that correct?
Evening and late night.
Okay. I'm showing you what's in evidence, which is Respondent's Exhibit 1, showing that he purchased, Mr. Andre purchased items from the Container Store at 6:09 p.m. Pacific time. It would have been after this time period that y'all hung out on the 12th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. I remember carrying a lot of big plastic containers, so it's very possible that those are the ones.
Okay. And y'all are good friends, correct?
That's right.
Nothing further.
And nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ritter. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day, everyone.
And with that, then, Your Honor, I'll rest and close.
And we rest and close as well.
All right. I do want to read the briefing that y'all forwarded to me before I make a decision. So I will do that, and I will get y'all a decision as quickly as I can.
And Your Honor, I didn't write a brief. There was a brief that was submitted by them. I had in my opening reference cases. I can be happy to put that in a brief if that's better for your court.
Not necessarily. I wrote down all those case names that you mentioned. I just assumed they were in a pleading, but if we have any trouble locating them, we will let you know.
Okay, understood.
Mr. Fraser, if you could put those in box, those cases you cited, since I'm not as familiar with them, I would appreciate that very much.
Sure, we'll be happy. Just put them in our the respondents, pre-marked respondents, or put them in a different folder.
Put them in the other materials folder if there is one.
Yes, yeah, there one says other materials by judge request.
Yep.
And
Mr. Gilbreath, if y'all do the same, that'd be great.
Yes, ma'am. And just briefly, the ex parte protective order expires today. I understand why Mr. Fraser can't agree to the extension. I haven't heard strong opposition to the extension, but we would ask that it be extended. We have a proposed order. We've shared it with Mr. Fraser. Obviously, that's not a comment on whether or not the court has jurisdiction, but just extending the ex parte order that Judge DeSettle put into place, and we would ask that that be extended.
Yeah, and I'll just obviously stand by our special appearance and make no comment.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I don't expect that I'm going to get time to read this between now and the end of the business day. So I will sign that extension. Is that in the proposed orders part of box?
It is in proposed orders, yes.
All right. And what is the amount of time that can be extended for?
I believe 20. I'm sorry, Miss. Counsel, you can speak to it.
Sure. 20 days. And so I filled in the date of July 28th at the bottom there. At the top, it asks for an appearance date. I put in the 27th because that's Monday of long docket. If someone's ordered to appear, if that makes sense, but we don't actually have that date set. Just the forms require you to order someone to appear.
All right. We'll take a look at that. If we have any questions, we'll let you know. We'll plan on signing something today. All right. Well, thank you all. You all are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.